Dad Simulator.
Incel game. If you buy this game, I'm gonna assume you are a pedophile. I feel like it's a breach of ethics at this point to design child characters for an audience of majority male gamers. Like, let's stop with the defenseless girl the big strong man has to protect. This reeks of sexism and control. I hate these father simulator games. They always give me the creeps. This is low Kirkenuanly fascist propaganda and gives me pedo vibes.
Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. You can support uncensored conversations via Cashapp or buying your girl a coffee. I just want to give a quick shout out to my first Faye ambassador. Shout out to Nefertiti. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you guys want to sign up for memberships or sign up to be an ambassador as well to receive a shout out, the link will be in the description down below. Hey y'all, I wanted to pop in here and talk about this new game that came out, and it has all these heifers in a complete tizzy, y'all. The basis of the game is you're like this astronaut and there's this like child android that you're taking care of. And it really does have a storyline that's built on a paternal connection with this childlike android. Okay, you guys are fighting together, you're keeping her safe, all of that. You have men that have gone online and said, wow, this game makes me want to have a daughter. And of course, just like anything with men and women dynamics in 2026, it's getting demonized. Everything that a man does gets demonized. It doesn't matter what the man does. If the man says, hey, women are great, oh my God, you're so patronizing. If men say, hey, women can work jobs, oh my God, you want women to be slaves for the workplace. If men say, hey, I want to provide and protect for a woman, oh my God, you want her to be your slave. No matter what men say, no matter what men do, women are going to find a way to demonize them for doing that. You have these men, they get out here, they play this game, and it really taps into that paternal instinct. And I think that something we've been misled to believe is that fathers are not nurturers. Fathers are nurturers. It shows up in a different way. Within men, there is a nurturing, even the whole concept of protecting and providing is a nurturing standpoint, right? You are nurturing by protecting and providing for someone other than yourself. Men have that innately within them. Obviously not all, but in a general sense, they do. That's why we don't en masse eat our young like some other species of animals do. Shout out to the crocodiles out there. I think it's alligators or crocodiles. I don't know. I don't know the difference between those two. They look damn near the same. And I think they both do that where they, they eat their young sometimes. That's beside the point. Men do have a paternal instinct and men do get baby fever. It might not show up the same way that it does for women, but men still have that desire to have a family. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you had these heifers get on there and, they were mad for a couple different reasons. They were mad that men were saying that they wanted to be a father, but then they were also mad because I guess the android girl was pretty. They're like, oh, she's so pretty. They only want to care for her because she's a pretty little girl. Or they were trying to say that there's a connection between the game and PDF file behavior, which obviously there are going to be some creeps out there. You can't tailor the world for creeps, right? Like you just can't do that. These broads were getting on here and saying, oh, they only like this because they're all PDF files. And I'm like, that's not true. I'm sure there are, but that's not the entirety of the men that were playing the game and saying, wow, I do want to be a father. I like the idea of protecting someone, someone else, someone smaller than me, someone younger than me, someone that is mine. And when I say mine, I mean like your child, not you own them, but they're your child. These heifers were upset because she had blonde hair, blue eyes. They're like, oh, this is propaganda, just like everything else. They pretend like white women, white girls with blonde hair, blue eyes are just the devil. They don't have to do anything. Just by having the blonde hair, blue eyes that you are born with makes you the devil, which sounds eerily familiar, eerily familiar to the demonization of Black people because we're born Black. Eerily familiar, aren't we supposed to judge people off of their action? I don't know. People are judging folks off of the privilege that they perceive them to have. That's what it's turned into. They were upset because the little girl was a cute little girl. Okay, she wasn't crazy looking, which I don't understand why they want to uglify everything in video games. They get mad when the video games are aesthetically pleasing, right? So if you have like Tomb Raider and she has huge tits and like the hourglass and she's beating people up, like they're like, oh my God, this is for the male gaze, da 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 da. But they never complain about the big buff men. They always complain about the women being fine, which I think is so weird to me. It's like, why are you comparing yourself to pixels on a screen? Like, let's be so for real here. Why are you competing with pixels on a screen? It's obviously fake. Why do you care that much? I remember playing Dead or Alive 2. The women in there were baddies, okay? And it didn't bother me. I didn't care. I was just like, okay, what's the new combo? How do I whoop someone's tail with the new combo move that I just learned? But no, these heifers are in constant competition mode with everything and everybody. And rather than just upgrading themselves and working on themselves and being the best version of themselves, no, they want to demonize anybody that they perceive to be more beautiful than they are. Anybody that they perceive to be better than them in any capacity. They just want to demonize it rather than just improving upon themselves. So this whole conversation is multi-layered and it just really highlights how crazy bitches are. I'm sorry, it's just, I had to say it. It really does highlight how crazy these heifers are out here. They've gotten on these here internets and they've demonized men for saying that they want to be fathers because they played this game. They called them PDF files, and they're also in their own way sexualizing the child in the game. They're the ones saying she looks like an OnlyFans. Like, they're the ones attributing these characteristics to this child android. They're the ones doing that, but then they're projecting that onto the men because they see this child as being attractive in their mind. They're projecting what they're thinking onto the men that are playing the game and saying, hey, I want to be a dad.
Y'all have paternal instincts for a child with a model woman's face plastered on it. Make her look like an actual kid with missing teeth, short hair, bare face, snot, and see if those instincts kick in the same. This game is openly catering to pedos. The gaslighting is over. Wait, I'm trying to follow the logic here. Let me just give myself some brain damage. So we make her look more like a child in order to not cater to pedophiles? Am I following that correctly? Also, the face on the left is like a child 6 to 7 years old, and the one on the right is like a 3-year-old. Diana's a robot kid, she's not a robot toddler. Also, again, she looks like a kid. Am I going insane? Like, that looks just like a little kid. Do they just want her to look ugly? Is that what this is? They want her to be ugly? Like, I need more brain damage, hold on. Weeb incel gamers LARPing saying, ooh, I wanna be a dad now, cause they're manipulative, creepy freaks and like the ooh little girl with the model face, especially the lolicons, obviously. The devs know the male gamers hate a realistic or ugly child, cause that's not what they're playing for. If they made her look like a realistic, ugly child, none of them would be saying this. First of all, why are they acting like it's realistic to portray children as ugly and disgusting? Children are not ugly and disgusting, like, they're cute and adorable. That's what they're known for.
But I want us to get to the root of why this is. It's not just the competition aspect that I've covered. It's also the fact that these broads cannot fathom a man being in a paternal position. Why? Because they all have daddy issues. I've heard a lot of people talk about this subject of this game, but none of them really clock what I'm saying. The reason why these heifers can't imagine a man wanting to be a father is because their father didn't want them. They have daddy issues. They cannot see a man in a paternal position because they didn't live through it. They didn't experience it. So the idea of a man stepping into that role seems foreign to them because it is. If you grew up with your father and your father was doing the things that he was supposed to do, or if you grew up around other men men that were doing the things that they were supposed to do as a paternal father figure. I know that's like redundant, paternal father figure. Y'all know what I'm saying. You don't see that as weird. You don't see a man wanting to take care of a child as weird because you've witnessed it. You grew up around it. But if you didn't grow up around that, then obviously you're going to see men wanting to be in that role, men being in that role, men desiring that role as creepy because your own daddy didn't want to be in that role for you. I'm sorry, it's a harsh truth, but that's where a lot of this psychology comes from. It comes from these broads having daddy issues. That's why they have so many issues with men. That's why having a father in the home that's present, okay, not just sitting there, but also very much so involved in their child's life, showing them how you're supposed to be treated by a man, showing them how to respect themselves, being present in their daughters' lives. It's so important because without it, you get heifers like this who cannot fathom men wanting to be fathers because their father didn't want them. And that's the real tea. That's the part nobody really wants to talk about. This fatherlessness epidemic, it is a huge issue. It's not just the Black community issue. You got a lot of white women, because it's mostly white women out here complaining about this game. They got effing daddy issues. Why are women having children with men that don't want to be fathers? And then why are men laying up with women, potentially putting themselves in a position to be a father and then skipping out? The adults in the situation are out of line. The broads are out of line for opening their legs, spreading eagle to men that don't want to be fathers. And the men that are infiltrating these eagles and knocking them up and then dipping out on the tab, they're out of order too. Bringing life into this world should be a collective effort. It should be something that is celebrated. It should be something that is cherished and seen as a responsibility that you need to take care of. If you don't want to be a father, if you don't want to be a mother, close your damn legs, or at the very least, wear a condom. You know, I'm not a big proponent for birth control because of what it does to your hormones, but I would rather your hormones be offed up than you bringing life into this world and then having them turn out to be one of these broads online crashing out because men want to be fathers and their father didn't want them, or these males getting online being crazy and very effeminate because they were raised by a single mom who didn't know boundaries, who didn't teach boundaries, who didn't make sure that he had a masculine influence in his life. So now he's moving like a broad. It's just, the whole thing is messed up. And of course, for the internet people, I have to give that caveat, not all. For the crazy folks in the back that are like, oh, not all. I know this one single mom who did it right. Okay, well, obviously I'm not talking about the single moms that do it as best as they can and their children turn out fine. Clearly, I'm not talking about those situations. But of course, you guys want to throw a wrench in the conversation. Well, not all. It's not all people get on my effing nerves, because if it's not all, then why are you being mad when I'm addressing the ones that it is? Okay? You're the ones making it seem that it's all because you feel the need to say that. It's like, not all. Okay, well, clearly I'm not talking about the ones that it does not apply. You know, I really hope that people can accept the phrase and really, just bask in it. If it don't apply, let it fly. Hit dogs holler. Like, you're just proving my point even more with the not comments, because you're probably part of the all section of the conversation. But I digress. This whole issue with this game stems from daddy issues. Period, point blank, end of the conversation. The demonization of men stems from daddy issues, because if you don't see a man in his proper role, protecting, providing, nurturing in his own way for a family, being involved in his children's lives, then of course, when men say that they want to do that, you will demonize it and say that has to be PDF file because my father didn't do that. My father went out for a cigarette and never came back. He went out to go get some eggs and some milk, and then I've never seen him since. Like, you had that situation, so you can't fathom any other man not being like your dad. That's why fathers are so important, because your father is going to be the first lens that you see men through. And if there's no father for you to see the man through, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be so difficult to have an unbiased opinion about men and see men as they are. So me personally, I don't see an issue with men playing a game and saying, hey, this makes me want to be a father. This is tapping into my natural instinct to want to protect and provide for a piece of myself, for my legacy. I don't see an issue with that. I know that before I had children, there were certain things that if I saw it, like for instance, instance, if I saw another mother that just had a baby or a pregnant woman, it would tap into that maternal instinct within me. Like, that is natural. And it is perfectly fine for these men to desire fatherhood. Perfectly fine. And it has nothing to do with being incel. It has everything to do with your natural progression through life, wanting to eventually procreate and protect what you create. But y'all, I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. How do you feel about this video? Do you agree with me where it's like, yeah, these heifers have daddy issues, and that's the reason why they demonize every single thing that a man does. Men cannot breathe without a daddy issue broad coming over and saying, that's misogyny. And if they're a white man, that's white supremacy, nationalism, misogyny. Or do you disagree with me where it's like, no, every man that plays this game is a PDF file and they just like her because she's pretty. If only my daddy had loved me the way that these men say that they want to love her, my life would be so much better and maybe I wouldn't have all these issues in my life. I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. If you like the video, like the video. The more you interact with it, the more it gets pushed out into the algorithm. Also, hype the video if that function is available. If you're feeling a little extra generous, the link is in the description to buy your girl a coffee. Thank you guys so much, and I will see y'all with the next one. Deuces.